I think you and I think most entrepreneurs can relate where all of a sudden you start identifying with your business,
Yeah.
right? And it's hard to even disassociate like the business and who I am
Mm.
anymore. And so the areas of life that where I was struggling quite a bit, I started masking more and more with like I'll just kind of hide behind the business facade, and it's not that big of a deal because my business is doing well. So, a that means I'm not the problem because how could I be the problem if the business is doing well? And that's where things started to feel hard
Mm.
because I wasn't living as authentically. I was struggling in my marriage to the point where we were, weren't sure if it was going to work out. And was 50 pounds heavier, way more emotionally volatile, feeling kind of spiritually disconnected from anything bigger than myself,
Mm.
and was just really wrapped up in like the success of the business and my identity with that. And that kind of, and it was funny because it was like the same time as we were crossing the $10 million a year in revenue mark.
Yeah.
So here we are at like Sundance, and I pay for everyone to get tuxes and gowns and celebrate and have this great time. And it was an awesome. So like I loved it. I loved all of that. But then on the inside, there was quite a bit that I was struggling with at that point and wondering if it was even worth it. You know.
Yeah. That led you to spend like $1 million on self-improvement, right?
When you say it like that, it sounds so ridiculous. Um,
Hey, it's
yeah,
the exact path I would have gone down myself in that same situation, so I get it.
yeah. Yeah, between, therapy, coaching, consulting, some addiction recovery support type stuff, conferences, just all the things. I'm like, "Okay, let's figure this out." A lot of that I've always been like a voracious learner.
Mhm.
So, I love just consuming content, books, all that kinda stuff, but the tipping point was, in a marriage counseling session.
Mm.
He had had us read the book Leadership and Self-Deception. I finished it. I'm like, "Okay, I might be like 20% of the problem here. Because
Mm.
I was going to be a good sport and like once she sees she's the problem, then we can move on with our lives type thing.
Yeah.
And we read that book. We had another session, and he asked me how the business was doing, and I'm like, we just hit 10 million, and we're awesome, and this and that and that. And he's like, well, how does your business partner feel about that? I'm like, what do you mean I don't have a business partner?
Mm.
Then he like looks at my wife, and then he looks back at me, and he's like, oh, it's interesting that you see it that way. And I'm like, yeah, dude, she's not my business partner. And, like, it's like those moments that you never forget. I'm like, "Oh, I don't see her like my partner."
Mm.
And so this was, like, the moment where the business shifted for me personally, coming back to your question, which
Yeah.
was, what would it be like to be married to someone for 10 years, have 3 children with him, support his ambitions, and then he doesn't see and treat you like a partner,
Mm.
right? And I was, like, consumed with that because 'cause I'm like, "That would suck." And that's her, and that's me, and that's what's happening here, and I feel like that's when I was finally, like, honest with myself about what was going on,
Mm.
you know? And, so we left, and I asked her, I'm like, "Do you feel like I see you like a partner?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, forget, like, 20% of the problem, like, I'm the villain here."
Yeah.
Like, it's time to change some things, and that's when I went on that path of, like, personal development, growth, all of those types of things. But I will tell you one of the funny things about that experience is I was meeting with a therapist, and I spent the first 6 months of therapy convincing him why, "Yeah, I kinda struggle with these things, but it's not as bad as other people you meet with, right?"
Yeah. Classic.
And it's like, but I was still proud like, I'm proud of that younger self for taking the first step.
Sure.
And I look back and I just laugh and would just give him a big hug, you
Mm.
know? And,
Such a good message to
yeah.
anyone that's in that moment right now.
Yeah. Let's just take a step and hopefully you'll look back and just giggle at yourself
Yeah.
because it's like, I've got 4 kids and when I watch them learn how to ride their bike and they fall over, do I like judge them? And it's like, no, I
Yeah.
just love them. And I think sometimes as adults, we think we're supposed to get it all right the first time we try things versus just, no, just give it a shot. Like just start moving in the direction, you
Yeah.
know? And, what I found after spending a lot of time, energy, and money on this stuff was that no one had the answers for me. I was looking for everyone else to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And when you look for someone else to tell you what to do, you're avoiding doing what you feel like on the inside you know you should be doing,
Yeah.
right? And so I just feel like that is ultimately what it led me to. And the framework, as I learned these things, there's a framework that I learned, like, the only thing that consistently worked for me was practicing awareness, honesty, and responsibility. If something's coming up, if there's a feeling, if there's resistance, if there's whatever, it's like, I'm gonna sit and be present in, like, what's going on here? I'm gonna be honest with myself about what's actually happening, and then I'm gonna take responsibility if I wanna do something different. And, what I became aware of with my wife was, uh, "Oh, I'm not treating her like a partner." That's the awareness phase. Those moments always feel exposing,
Mm,
like naked in front of a camera or
yeah.
an audience, right? Like, all of a sudden, there's nothing to hide
It's
behind.
where you wanna yell because
Mhm.
or fight back or resist.
Or hide,
Yeah.
but there's nowhere to hide in those
Mm,
moments. The honesty moment was we always do things because there's a payoff.
mm,
And if you'd say, "Well, why?" So if I'm asking myself the question, "Jake, why do you like feeling frustrated in your marriage?" I'd say, like, "Keen, what the hell are you talking about? I don't like feeling frustrated in my marriage." Well, then I'd say, "Then why do you keep doing it?
mm,
Why do you keep living in a way that causes you to feel frustrated in your relationship? What's the payoff?" And my payoff was, well, because then I get to say she's the problem and I don't have to change anything on my end. That's the payoff.
mm,
So it actually, like, and I don't know how much of this was conscious, but it's like once I saw like the
yeah.
truth was, oh, I'm living this way because then I don't have to take responsibility. Once you see the truth, it kind of sets you free. Because then I said, well, do I actually believe that? Well, no, I don't believe that. I can see that I actually need to take some act. Like, it doesn't serve me to show up in my relationship this way.
Yeah.
And then once you're honest with yourself, the next step's always clear.
Mm,
It's always clear. Like, that's the responsibility part. And so, um, as I figured these things out with a lot of time and money, I started developing them into courses that I taught internally at my business that has evolved into Disruptive University from that time. But that was like where it all began.